What's up, Bears fans? Harrison Graham here with an episode of Chicago Bears Now here in the mountains in Colorado toward the end of my vacation, but thought I'd bring you guys a video here on a Friday. If there's some chimes and some wind, I apologize, but let's go ahead and dive in. I'm Harrison Graham, by the way. Coming up here in a few minutes are some wild Chase Claypool rumors circulating around the internet right now. I kind of want to give my 2 cents on that, and a couple of thoughts on minicamp as I obviously have been on vacation. Shout out to Matthew Peterson, who's been filling in for a couple videos, but I do want to start with Yannick Ngakoue. There's been some developments on him since I went on vacation earlier in the week, I think on Monday or Tuesday. He announced that, or Adam Schefter reported that Ngakoue had hired Drew Rosenhaus as his agent, obviously NFL super agent, represents a ton of big-name players, and I think this is significant for a couple of reasons. One, I think Ngakoue is going to ramp up his free agency process now. Clearly, he didn't want to go through OTAs and minicamps, and hey, that's fine. He's a vet. He's proven. He doesn't necessarily need to show that he is one of those guys. But as far as it relates to the Bears, I think it's significant because Rosenhaus and the Bears have a good working relationship. They've had plenty of big contracts between the two parties in the past, so I think that does bode well for a team that clearly needs a pass rusher. I mean, we've talked about that part of it for a long time now, as the Bears had a league-worst 20 sacks last season. Ngakoue has 65 sacks in his 7-year career, including 8 or more in all 7 years of his career. Had 9.5 last season, 10 the year before. We've outlined the player. He's not a great run stopper, but a guy who at worst can be a rotation pass rusher. And, you know, on this team, probably a decent chance to start, if we're being completely honest. Now, some of that depends on, you know, the development of Travis Gibson and Dominique Robinson, but regardless, at worst, he can help this pass rushing unit. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Now, another development with Ngakoue in the past 24, 48 hours, Brad Biggs, of all people, Bears reporter, so not even from a national standpoint, he reports that Ngakoue is seeking $8 to $10 million per year on a new deal. Now, that's slightly more than like Leonard Floyd and Frank Clark, although they can get in that range with incentives, so maybe it would be something similar, like $6 million base, incentives up to 8 to 10, something like that. That is what he's looking for, but I find that interesting because he did go on SiriusXM NFL radio a couple weeks ago and said a lot of things, but a couple things that did stand out is that he wants a multi-year deal and that he wants to play for a contender. A, are the Bears willing to give him a multi-year deal? And B, does he view the Bears as a contender? Now, he may have to sacrifice one of those, right? Like, if he's going to get a multi-year deal, it may not be from a Kansas City Chiefs or, a team that's trying to win a Super Bowl this year, a Philadelphia Eagles, someone like that. I think a lot of teams would give him a 1-year incentive-based contract, but maybe the Bears would give him 2 years, be like, hey, we'll give you 2 years, $15 million, incentives up to 20, and we'll go from there. So we'll see. Ryan Poles has been very selective in free agency, so I'm not sure if he would give him a multi-year contract. I would consider it because you have a ton of cap space next year. I don't think if his multi-year deal is between, 6 and 8, 7 and 10 million, 2 years, 20 at the tops is what it would be, I would guess. That's not going to just crush you on the salary cap next year. I would still consider paying him that. Now, if you can get him for like 2 years 15, 2 years 16, even better. But we'll have to wait and see. I still would like to see Ngakoue in Chicago. I think he can help this pass rushing unit that desperately needs some help. Now, let me know. Do you think the Bears will sign Yannick Ngakoue? Type S for sign or P for pass. Let me know down in the comments below. Pinned comment on today's video. So if you get hit with that YouTube ad break, go ahead and reply to the pinned comment. Okay, let's get to those Chase Claypool rumors as we continue here from my remote mountain episode of Chicago Bears Now. No bear sightings this year. We've had this family cabin for a while, and bears are known to come by. So if I see one, I'll let you know. Okay, Chase Claypool. We're kind of all over the map here, right? Let's kind of rewind. After the trade, the second half of last season, obviously he did not play that well. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that. One, this was not a great passing attack. Two, apparently this is a pretty complicated offense for receivers to pick up, especially on the fly. So to do that post-trade deadline, he clearly did not do that very well. So those are a couple reasons. 10 catches, 140 yards in 10 games last season. So obviously, from what we've seen post-trade, you haven't gotten your return on investment up to this point. But that trade was largely, and by a huge amount of account, in my opinion, about this year. Like, you need him to deliver this year. So there's still a lot left to be told in this story as it's getting a little windy here. But the reason we're talking Claypool is, okay, then you fast forward to this offseason, Justin Fields' first week of OTAs. Here's a direct quote from him. Chase has improved tremendously from the end of last year, seeing his work ethic, his attitude change. You can just see he's taking another step, so definitely excited for that. Then he suffers some sort of minor injury that we don't know about. He missed the last 2 weeks of OTAs, missed minicamp, and, that's not ideal, but not the end of the world. Get him ready for training camp, and then we go. Mark Silverman, ESPN 1000, a.k.a. Silvy, from Waddle Silvy, he had this to say about Claypool on radio yesterday. I have heard from a few people inside that building that he is not somebody who is very self-motivated. Now, that's interesting. ESPN 1000, the new radio home for the Chicago Bears. You would think that Silvy is not just blowing smoke right now and making crap up, but at the same time, Fields a couple weeks ago and several coaches since then have talked about how Claypool's been had a good offseason. Right now, things can change. 3 weeks ago, they were talking Fields talked highly about him. Then he hasn't practiced much since. So maybe they're like, well, he's not practicing, and this minor thing is lingering. Who knows? There could be a lot of reasons. I'm definitely not accusing Silvy of making something up. I think he's very reputable. It's just there's conflicting information, which I find very interesting. Here's the bottom line when it comes to Chase Claypool, my 2 cents. So far, you've lost the trade. There's just no doubt about it. Now, I've said from the beginning, you can't grade this trade properly until at the end of 2023, so I'm going to play that out. But it's up to Claypool at this point to change the narrative about who he is as a player. We heard the minor red flags coming out of Pittsburgh post-trade, maturity questions. Like, we heard all that stuff, and it's up to him to persuade us that that's not who he is, that he can be a productive player. He can not necessarily be a leader, but be a guy who fits well in the locker room. And it sounds like that had been happening this offseason. So I'm still optimistic here about Chase Claypool. The good news is he doesn't have to come in and be a number one receiver. I'll talk a little bit about minicamp in a second, but Justin Fields and DJ Moore have built that chemistry. Like, he's clearly the number one. He may not even have to be the number two. If Darnell Mooney's healthy, he's probably your number two. Just come in and be solid. Now, you could say, well, was it worth the second-round pick for a number 3 receiver? Probably not. But if he goes out there and catches 50 passes for 700 yards or something like that, I think we'll all be happy with that, because this is still going to be a team that runs the football a lot at the end of the day. So the jury's still out on Chase Claypool. I want it to work out. Obviously, I'm sure he wants it to work out, obviously, because he wants to get a new contract. He's up for a contract after this year. He can get one now, technically, but I'd be shocked if the Bears gave him an extension before the season. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this plays out. Do you believe in Chase Claypool? Type B for believe or D for don't. Let me know in the comments below. And hit that subscribe button while you're at it. Listen, bringing you content on the daily. I think we've had one day without a video since I've been gone. I filmed some stuff before I left. Matthew Peterson had a couple videos. I'm doing a video here for the mountains toward the end of my vacation because I care about this team that much. I care about you guys this much. I want to bring you guys the latest Bears news, rumors, and other content as well. So hit the sub button. That's the best way you can support the channel, and it's 100% free. Okay, I want to get a couple of minicamp thoughts, and then we'll wrap it up with the Arlington Park latest. Man, wind's really picking up here. I hope the audio's okay. Minicamp. So I was keeping tabs with what was going on. Obviously, I've been busy on vacation. Sounds like the first couple of days were up and down for Fields in the offense, and I do want to outline Claypool and Mooney haven't been there. So yeah, he's got DJ Moore, and when he targets DJ Moore, there's been high success, but you can't go to DJ Moore every play. So who's he working with? Dante Pettis, Equinemius St. Brown, Tyler Scott. Tyler Scott's a rookie. I think he could be a good player, but he's a rookie. Pettis and St. Brown, and by the way, it sounds like Pettis has had a pretty good few weeks here, so he could be creeping up to make this team. We'll talk about more on that at a later time, but you're dealing with wide receivers like 4 through 6, right? Because you have your top guy, you don't have your second and third guy, assuming Mooney and Claypool are going to be your 2 and 3. Now, maybe someone else emerges, maybe EQ takes a step, or Tyler Scott, leapfrogs as a rookie, who knows? But in reality, Moore, Claypool, and Mooney are going to be your top 3 guys. That's just how it's going to be. And you don't have 2 of those. So, good news is both of them should be ready for training camps. So that part of it. But Fields up and down, threw some interceptions, missed a few throws. I'm not going to put a ton of stock into it, but you do want him to be taking positive steps, trending upward as we shift toward training camp. And to his credit, he did that on the 3rd day. He had a great red zone day, it sounded like. We all saw the clip, or if you haven't, you should go check out the Bears official Twitter, where he throws a dart in between multiple defenders over the linebacker in front of a safety to Robert Tonyan, who kind of tips it to himself one-handed, gets 2 feet in. That was a sweet little play. I think he threw 5 red zone touchdowns and red zone drills that day. Some other good completions. Velus Jones had a good last day, and he needs to, because Pettis has had a good offseason. Dante Pettis could make this team. It's, when they signed him, I was like, it's depth. He's probably wide receiver 7. I mean, look, who would you trust right now to make a play, Pettis or Velus Jones? I don't know. Might trust Dante Pettis, but that's a story for training camp. But, I like how things finish for the offense. I think an underrated part in all of this is this Bears defense might be decent. Like, I don't think it's going to be top 10. I don't think it's going to be a vintage defense, but I like the secondary. It sounds like Tyreek Stevenson is coming along nicely as a rookie. I think he starts opposite of Jalen Johnson. Feels like Kyler Gordon's taken a step forward, still has to find that consistency. Obviously, you got Johnson, and then you got Brisker and Eddie Jackson at safety. I like that pairing. Secondary should be nice. Linebacker should be awesome. Tremaine Edmonds has emerged as a leader already. You got TJ Edwards. Sanborn's been banged up. He'll be back for training camp, though. But it sounds like Noah Sewell's had a nice rookie offseason. So, look, if the front 4... sign Yannick Ngakoue. Can generate a decent amount of pressure, because I actually think the run defense with the front will be improved, then this defense could be decent, like top 20. If you get a top 20 defense and your offense is, taking steps forward, hey, that's a step in the right direction. So, I thought minicamp, was a positive overall. Now the guys get, 5-6 weeks off. Training camp starts. I put a community post out on the channel, I believe July 26th, 5th. I think they report on the 25th players. First practice the 26th, and then first practice to the public, for any of you out there that want to go, is the 27th. So that is exciting. All right, stadium update, then we're getting out of here. Bears started the demolition of Arlington Park today. In a press release, they said that while the demolition has gotten underway, that does not mean they will build a new stadium there. Side eye for me as they continue to explore options. Naperville has reached out. Waukegan has reached out. Who knows who's next? Obviously, the city of Chicago would like to keep the Bears in Chicago. So we'll see. I still am in 99.8% chance that they end up in Arlington Heights. They've already spent hundreds of millions just to get that property. The demolition is going to cost a lot of money. Unless there's just some major roadblock that they're not willing to move past or just can't move past, they will be in Arlington Heights. It's just a matter of when, right? Like 2028, 2029. I mean, I think it's at least 2028. A project like this is going to take probably 5 years. So if you hit the ground running, by the end of this year, start building up, maybe early next year, then yeah, I think 2028, 2029 is what you're looking at. If there's a little bit of stalling with the tax issue of Arlington Heights, maybe you're looking at 2030, 2031. We'll have to wait and see, but I do think they end up there. All roads still lead to Arlington Heights. All right, guys, appreciate you indulging me on a Friday. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Better start to your weekend than I had. While I'm enjoying beautiful Colorado, I can't really complain. My TCU Horned Frogs, just a utter collapse in the 9th inning against Oral Roberts in the College World Series. You lose to effing Oral Roberts. You're in the driver's seat to start 1-0. It's just a colossal disaster, but that's neither here nor there. I don't think you guys care about that. What you do care about is Bears content, and we bring you guys that every day. We'll have a video tomorrow and on Sunday that I had already recorded for you guys, so check those out. And then I am back in the studio on Monday as my vacation starts to wrap up. Appreciate you guys. Hit that sub button, and we will see you soon. Bear down from Bears County here in Colorado. They're roaming the mountains. See ya.